Nintendo did an oopsie. So due to data miners, we now know that not only is Super Nintendo coming to the Nintendo Switch Online service, which I felt like Nintendo's essentially told us that's going to be the case, we just didn't know when. We now know all of the launch games for the Super Nintendo on the Nintendo Switch Online service. Not only that, we also know that there are at least what appears to be currently 2 other classic systems that will be coming to this service at some point. Maybe not this year, but at some point. So let's just dive right into the information we have here. This comes from Twitter user at CapucinoHeck. He's a well-known modder in the community. And he worked along with Snowmeal Dome, or also known as at Oatmeal Dome, and at Simon1844. So first things first, they found out about what all 4 of the emulators are that are currently in the NES Online app. So basically, they data mined the NES Online app, and what they came up with is there's actually 4 emulators listed under the app. The first one is the Kachi Kachi, which is the same emulator that they used in the NES Classic. That obviously is what is running the NES games on Nintendo Switch, and it's been known for a while that it was using the same emulator, so that's nothing new. There is also another emulator listed as Canoe. Well, that is conveniently also the name of the SNES Classic emulator, so again, we know that that means SNES Classic. There's also a Hayoko and then Count. These currently have no relation to classic systems, so we're not sure what those systems are. N64 maybe, GameCube, nobody really knows, but it does appear that there's 2 more classic systems coming besides just the SNES. Now, here's the information you probably all were here for. What games is the SNES going to launch with on the Nintendo Switch Online service? Well, here we go. Super Mario Kart, Super Soccer, The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, Demon's Crest, Yoshi's Island, Stunt Race FX, Kirby's Dream Course, Poppin' Twinbee, Star Fox, Contra, Kirby Superstar, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Kirby's Dream Land 3, Super Metroid, Super Mario World, Pilot Wings, F-Zero, Star Fox 2, Super Punch-Out, The Legend of the Mystical Ninja, Super Mario All-Stars, and then Breath of Fire. If you're not counting there, that's 21 games at launch. Now, obviously, a lot of these games were on the SNES Classic. Some of them were not. However, essentially, we now know that the Super Nintendo is going to be launching at some point in 2019 with all of these games, and they're already listed in the code base. In fact, we'll put a link down to the pastebin as well. They put up of all the code to confirm all of this. So this is really, really interesting. It's really, really interesting because I still don't understand why Nintendo continues to put this data in these applications before they are ready to launch. We had the Super Smash Bros. Data mining that unveiled a potential new DLC character, and now we have this. Now, don't get me wrong, I am stoked to finally have SNES confirmed that it appears to be coming this year, and that we have a list of 21 games coming to, well, the Nintendo Switch Online service. What I don't like is that Nintendo didn't tell us about it, and that we have no idea when this was coming. Remember, Nintendo is constantly blasted over the Nintendo Switch Online service, the most recent one being when they announced the 2 games for this month and all of the massive dislikes on that video. So why couldn't Nintendo have done that but also announced, hey, SNES games are coming later this year, blah, 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 here's a list of games. They obviously already know what the games are going to be. They're obviously working on it. It's probably why the NES games are slowing down a little bit. And it would have made a lot of sense, but Nintendo doesn't know how to please the people that are paying for this subscription service. Now, again, just adding these SNES games in doesn't necessarily make the service, leagues better, but it's better than not having the games, that's for sure. And obviously, this leads to hope that we'll start getting 2 to 3 NES and SNES games per month. That could bump us up to 4 to 6 games per month. And then whenever they finally launch those other platforms, it might go from 4 to 6 to 9 to 12 or so games coming to the platform every single month, which is a much more respectable number of games and way more in line with what the Virtual Console used to be like. Now, I'm a little, I don't really like that it's only appears to be 4 systems that are coming, but you know what? 4 is better than just 1. Right now, it's just the NES. So having the SNES I assume one of those is probably the N64. I don't know if the other one's going to be GameCube or if they're looking at DS or if they're looking at Game Boy. Whatever, they should be adding all of this stuff in. If you're asking me, they should have Game Boy, they should have Game Boy Advance, they should have DS, they should have N64, and they should have GameCube. I argue they probably should have Wii too, but you know what? I will give them a break. Let's just worry about getting GameCube before we worry about Wii. So I do think this is really, really awesome. And hey, look at that. Some late night news that I did not expect to happen. I literally was laying in bed and about to fall asleep, and all of a sudden, boom, this tweet came across my face. And I'm like, I got to go do something with this. I can't just sit on this all night. I got to get this information out to you guys as fast as possible. Speaking of doing something as fast as possible, you should be heading down to our description to enter our Nintendo Switch Super Smash Bros. Ultimate giveaway through the Gleam.io link. Absolutely free to enter. All that's required is that you are subscribed to our channel. That being said, I'm Nathaniel Rufflejans from Nintendo Prime. Why don't you drop a like on this video? Tell me your thoughts on this lineup for the SNES library at launch on the Nintendo Switch Online service, and what platforms you hope those mystery platforms are for the future. All right, folks, I'll catch you in the next one.